Okay, thanks for joining. I'll kick off now. My name is Eddie Thompson and I am the Senior Solutions Engineer here at Sumo Logic in ANZ APAC. And what am I going to talk to you today about? Software development optimization. So this is a live webinar that I'll run through, and basically what I'm going to talk about today is how we can help you with your software development, with your CI/CD, with your pipelines, with the metrics that you derive from these things, and how we can help out a bit at Sumo. So for those of you that don't know much about Sumo Logic, we are a machine data analytics platform, and we've got a lot of different use cases across observability, DevOps, troubleshooting, and security. So today I'm going to focus on the sort of observability side, and more specifically on the software development side of observability. So the value that we provide in the platform, what I'm going to talk about here is multiple teams and use cases for that same platform, for that same set of data. And we've got use cases across the sort of lifecycle of monitor, diagnose, troubleshoot, and that sort of comes in for things like your DevOps and your SREs. They're looking to improve things like their mean time to identify, the mean time to resolve. They're looking to detect unknown issues, identify problems, and basically resolve them. Where people today are probably most interested in is how they can improve their software velocity and quality. So they want to monitor things like what's going on in their development pipelines, identify problems in their processes and procedures, where they might have those sort of human problems rather than the tooling problems, and identify some root causes and how they can sort of optimize those processes and resolve those issues. So that's in the software engineering development space. And the last one is protecting customer data. So looking at threats and vulnerabilities, identifying attack vectors and sources of vulnerability, and basically being able to understand the impact of things and remediate those issues. That's when you're sort of looking across that entire DevSecOps lifecycle, making security a core part of that whole program. So focusing on the middle column today, but these are all absolutely common use cases that you can use across the Sumo platform. So software development optimization, and I realise I haven't changed the spelling of that, so it's got a Z, but I won't worry about that too much. So basically the software development ecosystem for modern applications is pretty broad. You've got a huge different volume of tools and platforms and monitoring agents and vulnerability scanners, and it's a pretty wild sort of ecosystem, and people aren't just using one or two, they're using 4 or 5 or 6 or 7, and there's a lot of stuff going on. And Sumo provides a platform to basically be able to gather all that data, be it structured, be it unstructured, be it from a vendor or something you've cooked up yourself, and be able to monitor that data, search that data, monitor and basically get some analytical value out of that data. And that's sort of what we're going to dig into a bit more today, is how we sort of look across that software pipeline that you have, grabbing all that data from these various tool sets, how we can enrich it, normalize it, and then use it to correlate across some various sources and provide some specific intelligence that you can actually use to improve your business. So things like faster release velocity, improved reliability and security, and improving the sort of collaboration within your broader team. So what this is based around, the solution that we've built are the DORA metrics. So for those that aren't familiar, DORA was the DevOps Research Academy, or something like that. Anyway, I'm forgetting. But basically, they were conducting a lot of surveys across various software organizations for the last decade, and doing a lot of investigation and basically drilling down into the key things that made noticeable differences to software development and releases and the quality of those. And the key metrics that they sort of landed upon were deployment frequency, lead time for changes, mean time to recovery or restore, and change failure rate. And they sort of fall into two sort of piles, being sort of deployment velocity, how quickly you can do things, and service quality, how available your software is, how quickly you can resolve problems and restore from failures. So basically, what we've got in the platform here is real-time actionable insights. So this is things that are calculated from the live data as it hits your platform, and computing those DORA metrics for the entire organization. The logs and events are there from that entire DevOps lifecycle. They're normalized for end-to-end visibility and root cause analysis, and that full data set is there. This isn't just sort of cherry picking some metrics. This is computed from the raw data, which means you can drill down to the underlying data. The particular sort of webhook that came from GitHub, or a Jenkins event, or the alert in PagerDuty. This data is all there within the platform in its full sort of state. The enrichment means that you're able to sort of drill down into the specifics related to your team or your service or your business unit. So I want to have a look at this by a particular product or a specific repo. That's easy to do. That's out of the box. But the other thing too, this is extensible because we're normalizing all this data to a common schema. So all of these various tools, everything pulls in and visualizes the same. So it doesn't matter if you're using one tool or you're using 5 for the same stage, you can get a consistent view, and you can extend that and tailor it to your own business processes. It's not something which is, here's what we give you and that's it. You can modify it because everyone's business processes are a bit different. How you determine what an incident is different. So these things are all very much things that we make easy to modify within the platform as well. So a bit of an architectural overview. The cool thing here is we're able to deploy this via Terraform. So you can actually set this up. So at the moment, via Terraform, we're supporting JIRA, GitHub, Bitbucket, Jenkins, Opsgenie, and PagerDuty. We are adding to that list at the moment. So there will be more out-of-the-box direct Terraform deployable resources, but this is extensible to a lot of other things. So we've got people using it for BuildKite and GitLab and Octopus Deploy. But basically, this will create the relevant webhooks, create the relevant sources in Sumo, deploy the dashboards, really easy to get up and running. Or you can do it manually. You may already have a bunch of the data already within the environment. If you're a long-time Sumo user, this is a great way to derive some additional value from that data if you're already collecting it. But it is very much customizable, so we can support multiple organizations, different teams, different use cases. If you want to tag data in specific ways, we can then slice it by those tags. So really easy to get up and running, normalizing it to a common schema to allow this correlation, and then making it really easy to derive some actionable insights from that data. So why? What's the why behind this? And the fact of the matter is that high-performing software delivery teams win. So DORA, when they look at these metrics, they sort of break people down into sort of low performing, high performing, elite performers. And when compared to low performing delivery teams, elite performers deploy more frequently, deploy much more faster, 106 times faster from commit to deploy. They are far, far, far faster at recovering from incidents, and they deploy fewer breaking changes, so 7x times lower. And that's from the State of DevOps report from DORA. But these are the things which people find make a real difference to business, because they're getting to market faster and they're having a more reliable experience for their customers. And that's why these teams win. And that's why everyone wants to try and improve these metrics, and that's what we're trying to provide some visibility for. So the particular metrics that I touched on before, there's 4 key metrics, and the first 2 measures of agility, deployment frequency and lead time. So specifically defined how often is code deployed to production, and the faster is better. The lead time, that is time from your merge commit to actual production deployment, and the shorter is better. And then in the reliability side, we've got mean time to recovery, which is how long it takes to recover from production incidents. Shorter is better. And change failure rate. What is the percent of deployments that subsequently require remediation? And lower is better. So I'm not going to bore you to death with slides. Let's do it live. Let's have a look at how this looks within the Sumo platform. So what I have here is a live computation of these 4 key DORA metrics. So I have my deployment frequency, lead time for changes, change failure rate, and time to restore service. These are being automatically color-coded. So I've got my red, green, and yellow, depending on whether I am elite or low, elite being green in this instance. And not only that, do I have my heads up number, and this is looking at the deployment per week over the last 14 days, but also having a look at what my trend is. And I suppose the thing that sort of, these are bouncing up and down, change failure rate and deployment frequency, but lead time for changes, that has a definite upward slant to its trend. And if I was looking at that, that'd be something that I'd sort of want to drill into a bit and see what's going on. So this is my overview. I can sort of jump into my lead time dashboard where I can sort of break this down with a bit more detail. And this is going to show me things like which repos have the slowest lead time, which service or which team, and down to the point of which actual sort of pipelines that I'm running have the longest duration. I can see here that my master build test is running at over 26 hours compared to my master deploy, which is much, much longer. So there's definitely something that's going on there. So what I can do then is actually sort of say, all right, let's have a look at what's going on within my pipelines. And this is where I can actually really drill down to the specifics. And this is where I think it's really, really powerful. So I can see things like my execution counts, which stages are failing, but these pipeline duration, this is really handy. So just visually, I can see which particular steps within a given pipeline are taking longer. So master build test, that was the long one. I can see that regression test here is taking the lion's share. So what I can do here is actually filter down. So master build test, and what was it, stage regression tests. So I can actually filter it down to the particular tests that are having a problem. And then I can review things like, okay, what are my slowest steps within that particular stage? Okay, I've got a step name here, which is back-end ETL tests. And that seems to be the longest part of that particular long stage in a long pipeline. So that's how you can really easily go from seeing, okay, I've got a metric trending up in my organization. Let's investigate why that may be, identify a problem pipeline, and then actually drill down to the level of where I can find a problem step in a particular pipeline. So that's the big difference of being able to sort of just track a metric at its overall, and actually having that deep underlying data that you're computing from to be able to not only identify an overall problem, but get into the specifics of something that you can actually take action on and fix. So that's sort of like within the specific tooling side, but it's not just that. It's sometimes this is things that are in the people side. So take things like pull requests. This is a classic example. Where are my reviewers by average time to close? What is my rates across PRs created versus merged to decline? What are my top pull requests by time to merge? Why are things taking so long? Do I see things in a particular repo or a particular reviewer or a particular team? Do I need to have more people who are able to review in a particular repo? There's no point chasing seconds out of my build chain if I'm burning hours in my review side. So that's some things which are really, really handy to be able to do. So one of the other things I want to show you here, which is kind of cool, is the pipeline overview. So this is one of our other overview dashboards, and this basically takes a right to left view of what's going on in your environment. So where are my pipelines executing? What have my last critical alerts been? Which services do those relate to? And if I wanted to actually view the alert in PagerDuty, where have my last failed deploys been? And letting me know what the commit is, and actually being able to sort of click out and actually review the particular commit in GitHub. So this deep links in directly, which is really handy as well. Where have my failed builds been? PRs that are taking a long time to close, just touched on that. Issues that have taken a long time, critical issues from JIRA, which take the longest to close. Do I see a particular trend in what I need to do here? And each one of these can then be sort of drilled into with more detail across things like alerts, build deployments, issues. So we can jump over to builds. Where have my build events been coming from? My results, success, failed, aborted. What's my distribution on these? Where are they coming by service and by team? Am I seeing spikes in my successes or failures? So this isn't just about investigating where there may be problems in an environment either. This is something that you can absolutely use to see where people are doing well, and saying, okay, well, we've obviously got some high performers in this team. Let's have a look at what their processes are. How can we sort of make sure that we're replicating that in other parts of our business? Tracking things, yeah. Last successful and failed builds. I really just love the fact that this deep links out to the other tools as well. So if I want to have a look in GitHub, it's fantastic. And looking at things like alerts. So where are my actual P1s coming from? Which services are involved? Which teams? Do I have some people who possibly need to have a bit more sort of review on their code because they're causing an above average number of our problems in production? So those are some of the key things that I wanted to sort of touch on there. But basically, what this means for the various users within your org, these are things which we provide out of the box, but as I mentioned, these are extensible, these are filterable. So when I look at a particular dashboard, I am able to filter by environment name or service or team. But if you have an additional thing that you want to use, it's very much a case of being able to add that in dynamically. If I wanted to add in a particular tag equals, and I've got a tag name, or if I've got a business unit that I want to filter on as well, there's only that needed to be done to be able to actually then start using those to filter across these dashboards as well. It's definitely not something that's fixed in place that you can't change around, because some of these things do have some business logic that needs to be taken into account. So look, to wrap things up, I just want to say that Sumo Logic makes it really easy to benchmark and optimize your software delivery performance across all of your DevOps life cycles. So this solution should allow you to help release code faster and improve your application reliability and increase collaboration across your various development teams. So the other thing I just want to touch on is our user conference. Illuminate is coming up at the end of the month. So this is a virtual conference. Please jump on here and sign up. And just a note that is the US Pacific time for the event. So it is actually the 29th and 30th for those in Asia Pacific. But all of the sessions there will be recorded, so you can actually sort of pick and choose across a lot of interesting sessions from customers and SMEs on various parts of the product, and sort of build your own sort of itinerary of what you want to check out. So hopefully you sign up for that and check it out. And thank you very much for your time. Once again, I was Eddie Thompson, and if you'd like to learn any more, please reach out. We've got a public Slack channel at slack.sumologic.com. You can reach out to sales. You can sign up for a free trial. And yep, thank you very much for your time, and I hope to see you again soon.